You're listening to the Jets Country Podcast, powered by Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Network. Welcome back, everybody. Ralph Ventry here. Episode 4 of Hard Knocks in the books. There was a lot to digest with this one. I mean, we had a Sopranos allusion. We had the rookie wide receivers fighting for a roster spot. No shortage of storylines in episode 4. And of course, a homage to the late, great James Gandolfini, aka Tony Soprano. I talk about that and a whole lot more with my co-host, Amanda Shinn, next on the Jets Country Podcast. Back at it on the Jets Country Podcast, Ralph Ventry talking Hard Knocks with my co-host, Amanda Shinn, and we have 4 episodes in the books. Episode 4 on August 29th, actually only 6 hours or so after official cuts were due into the league office. We saw some of that. It was a different open for once. We have a lot to talk about, and let's get right to it. Amanda, lead us off. What did you think of the show's open?
Well, first and foremost, I do want to wish you a happy belated. We're both Virgos. I'm very upset I did not send Oz Perlman to your birthday party or get you anything from Al the Jeweler, but I wanted to get that out of the way. And please excuse my voice. I'm coming off of being sick over the weekend, but this was I loved this open because it was like they kind of touched on like all the different components of what, makes a good training camp and organization facility and all of that. So, they hit a little bit of equipment, they hit a little bit of cafeteria, which I know that you had been commenting, because I think the biggest documented part that hasn't been within Hard Knocks has been these, so-called conversations that Aaron Rodgers has sitting at the cafeteria with all of the different, position players.
Yeah,
And,
they've made such a big deal about him sitting with someone different at every meal, but yet they never show us him sitting with someone at a meal. So
Right.
I was glad to finally see the cafeteria, but of course they didn't give us any glimpse or inside look at the conversations that go on at the cafeteria table. And you and I know that, when you had a meal, whether you were in college or even now, if you go out to business, $1 million business deals are closed over a meal. So like there is a lot of good, insightful conversation that people have when they're eating. So I just think it's a missed opportunity, but I'm glad at least they showed the cafeteria that it does exist. But no, go ahead, because I have some more thoughts on the open, but I want you to finish.
No, I mean, that was my other thoughts go more into when they were having the position meetings. But so I do want to hear your thoughts on that but I agree with you. Like that is the content that I'm seeing more on social, like us getting, the side of celebrities that people actually want to see. Like that's what we want to see. We want to see who the real Aaron Rodgers is. We want to see, like, yes, we know who he is on the field. We've seen a little bit of his personality, but like that would really tell us a lot more about him and all of his teammates that he's talking to, by just kind of highlighting those combos. So I do agree with you there, and total missed opportunity, unless they're like saving it for the finale and like they'll edit it in like a nice montage. I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah,
But
or
yeah.
maybe we'll get a team meal or something in the finale. But yeah, it's that human side. You know, they're not robots. Um, they are these larger than life sports personalities. But at the end of the day, they put their pants on one leg at a time, and people want to see that. People want to see the human side of these players, and you know that's a great opportunity that you have with a show like Hard Knocks. But this was my favorite open so far of the four shows because I liked the behind the scenes look, as you mentioned, you know, all of those things that go into an organization and just all of the things and all of the people that are needed to get ready for a day of practice at training camp. And, you know, that's good to show because all of those, you know, Jets employees have a role to play in this thing, no matter how big or how small. So it's always good to see those behind the scenes folks appreciated, and then also, you know, what they do is valued, and it's also kind of cool to see that exactly what it is behind the scenes that you don't see from the outside. You know, you get to see the operations of the staff and the equipment staff and the you know just the entire operation of the whole thing. So that's
And
a
I will
cool
say,
look,
like,
especially for a casual fan who has never
yes,
been inside a football facility before.
totally. And I will say, when I interned with the Giants, like, that the cafeteria was the one of the best parts of the whole deal. The food was amazing, but like what was even more impressive and like just so cool, everybody knew every cafeteria worker by name, and like it was your favorite part of the day walking in, like saying what's up. They were like just so happy to be interacting with everyone, and like everyone from ownership, down to the intern, like everybody treated them like gold, and it was like just reciprocal. So I kind of wish we did get more of that, but what
You
are
know,
we gonna do there,
it's funny that you mentioned that because I once was part of an event at MetLife Stadium in the Coaches Club, and we actually had a former Giant, Roman Oben, who is now a VP at the league office. But Roman was one of our guest speakers, and after he spoke, we all had a meal, and he recognized uh, one of the members of the catering staff, you know,
Oh yeah.
when they used to eat way back when, which was really cool. So, um, you know,
Love
and
Roman.
even you
Yeah.
heard like when Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay, you know, he thanked everyone from from the cafeteria workers to the custodial staff to the equipment staff to the training staff. So, you know, a football team at this level is a massive operation, and a
And they
huge
become a
business
family.
entity.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's a family aspect to it. There's a huge business side to it. So there are a lot of moving parts, so to speak, and you know they really showed that in this opening montage, and they did it well. The only criticism I have is what was that music? I'm not quite sure about that. I believe it definitely was a Spanish language song, but
Yes.
it certainly wasn't Enrique Iglesias or anything that's hit the top 40 anytime soon. Or
So it
maybe
is.
I'm just ignorant, but
No, it is
but yeah,
interesting.
no bueno on that. No bueno on the music, which
Well,
kind
it
of
is interesting you bring that up, because that did pop out to me too. But I do know the NFL and the organizations have been trying to kind of connect more with the Latino fans. So I thought it was interesting that Hard Knocks even tried to incorporate that as
well,
well.
there is a huge Latino fan
Huge.
base.
Yes.
Really, that for all 32 teams. There is a
Yes.
portion of their fan base, but it that was just a weird
Yeah,
a choice of
it felt
song. There are
forced.
plenty Spanish language songs that I'm sure would have been I don't know. To me, it just didn't fit.
Yeah. It felt
Um,
forced. Yeah.
but exactly forced. So we go right into the offensive meeting. I believe it's the quarterbacks. Yeah, it's the quarterbacks, right? And this is Hackett with the Floby, the
I
Rodgers
got
with the haircut, and then the
got
Floby. Tremendous moment. Great
so
job
good.
by Hackett right there. What did you think? Break this down for us.
Well, I mean, first of all, Aaron did look very handsome. He came in all clean shaven, and it was just funny that they were all kind of like putting him on the spotlight. But the Floby, like for Hackett to have been prepared with that and like the tutorial, like the you know, shop at home like tutorial of showing how it's used, I was dying. That was like a good segue because you know like they keep it light and yeah I just died. That was a one of my favorite parts of all of the position meetings.
Yeah, I loved it when he was just like the Floby. Yeah, hey, pull this up, and it
Yeah.
was great. It was like a great and the ad too. It was your prototypical like infomercial hawking a product back in the '90s. It was nostalgic. It was great. Um, Now I believe they go out to the practice field. Um, and what did you take away there? I have a great takeaway from Rodgers here, but
So when
actually there's a lot that happened here because this was a pretty long segment, a long shot at the practice field throughout practice, and then even at the end of practice with Rodgers signing autographs. So a lot to break down
yeah.
here. What stuck out for you?
Well, I mean, they were ragging on him still for the headphones. You know, he can't afford AirPods. And he was quick to come back saying, "Hey, oh yeah, for saving you know, my brain from harmful EMF
Now,
emissions."
I love this. I love this. This was my favorite moment of the whole series. It was Aaron Rodgers, being genuine with a great answer, and um, I'm in his camp with this one. You can call us conspiracy theorists. As you can see here, I got the analog headphones, but he came out with that answer that he's saving his brain from the EMF emissions, and it RFK, Robert Kennedy would be so proud right now. I don't know if anyone's heard Kennedy on the Joe Rogan podcast. There was a certain portion that he talks about cell phone waves and Wi-Fi and penetrating your blood-brain barrier and all this stuff. And Rodgers is actually an outspoken supporter of RFK and his presidential movement. But anyway, not to make the whole show about politics, but I love this. It was a quick, smart answer by Rodgers. I happen to agree with him here. I guess that's the conspiracy theorist in both of us, but this was good stuff. And then what was even better
Well,
was um, was Rodgers talking to the receivers. First, he was angry. They kept showing that he was really complaining
F
about
bomb.
all of the offensive mistakes, the route running, the penalties, and they showed him getting heated. But then also, I just loved how they showed him talking to each one of the receivers, making a plan, and then going back and executing later on in practice. But yeah, what did I miss, or what did you
Yeah,
see
no,
here?
no, no, no. So, I mean, that, yeah, I got the same thing. You know, like it was the dramatics of all the F bombs, the false start, dropped balls, calling Wilson over to his office. And like it highlighted him just like kind of being the coach there and the offensive coordinator almost. By like, really pointing things out that I think he felt that the team or coaches weren't seeing. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and then I think that takes us through practice, and then at the end, a really nice touch I thought with the interaction between Rodgers and the young fans, and
Yeah.
the dialogue with the kids. The kids said some great stuff, and he had some great answers. What
Yeah.
did you what did you think make of this segment?
The
And I'm
one
kind.
the one
Go no, go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
No, the one answer was very interesting. They're like, "Oh, don't leave us now. We need you." And he's like, "Why would I leave? I have so many fans." It kind of makes me believe it's more than just maybe a year or two. The way that he was talking, but no, it was a very sweet segment, and like it's funny because kids can kind of say whatever. If those were reporters, I don't know if he would have gotten the same answers, but yeah, that was really cute.
And it was good to see him signing for all the kids too. And because I know there are these autograph hawkers out there, these grown men who like push
Oh
the little
yes,
kids out of the way and try to get them. I almost wish Hard Knocks kind of would have shamed one of those folks because they had to be out there. But it was good to see that Rodgers was just concentrating, signing for the kids, because that's what it's all about. Those
sure.
kids those kids are part of NFL Films TV history now, and they'll remember that moment for the rest of their lives. So to me, that was really cool. Definitely a good touch right there. Um, I guess we move on then. Uh, this is when they revisit the Tanzel Smart story. I think when the defensive linemen are together, right? Is this the defensive lineman? And maybe they're at Tanzel Smart's house, or they're at a house
Yeah.
with
So
the D
yeah, we
tackles,
go
and they're
from
cooking, or
Yeah,
yeah,
we go
making
from
some
yeah, there were like
gourmet.
position meetings, and then we go into Tanzel and Jada's house where they're, like eating charcuterie boards, and they show his shirt. And yeah, so that was, and obviously they wanted to. He kind of coined that term, even though like it's commonly mispronounced that way, but like it is kind of just funny coming from him. Um, but yeah, to like kind of reintroduce him back into the show, because we knew we were going to get a little bit more of that highlight there cut with the 53 man cuts coming, so yeah, so that was a good little segue back into Tanzel Smart world.
And then I think they take us to an offensive meeting with Nathaniel Hackett, and he's
Yep.
talking about Austin Powers, Gold member, and the Gold Zone. Another great cultural, pop culture reference from the '90s that probably only someone of Aaron Rodgers' age and Dwayne Brown are probably the only guys that saw that movie when it came out. But the only
I
other
think
thing
Rogers had said that Hackett always brings something gold. Like his theme is always a gold theme.
oh yeah, okay, and the
Yeah.
gold zone, that was the whole thing there. It's not
Yep.
the red zone, it's the gold zone.
Yeah.
Um, the only other thing I noticed about this, I thought it was a good message that he had. Celebrate with someone else, celebrate with your
Yeah.
team. It's just not one guy. So, um, and that's true for a touchdown. It's just not one guy that if one guy does something wrong, that touchdown doesn't happen. So everyone is important to that touchdown. So I thought that was a great message. The other thing I noticed here is Izzy Abanaconda's teeth are really white, super white. He definitely doesn't smoke. He definitely doesn't drink coffee. So shout out there. Now I'll let you take it from here because from this offensive meeting, we go back out to practice. a new practice, and it's your boy, DJ John Black.
My guy, he got a cameo. And what was funny was when I was interviewing DJ John Black, he was saying how typically he doesn't get requests, but when he does, like they'll all funnel through one player. But he said over he has found since 2017 when he started that has changed over the years, and they've built like this bond. So now the younger crowd is coming in and requesting songs, and so I thought it was really like on brand for the rookies to tell them to play Sexy Red, and so I was dying at this, and then obviously he was setting up at the time, and when he had lowered, and they were like, "Whoa, what is he doing?" and then turned it back up. They all were going crazy, but it segued perfectly into introducing the other rookies that we didn't get to see in this whole series between Jason Brownlee and Xavier Gibson. And how competitive they are. It showed them on the field, rapping, just like they'll make apparently anything a competition, which I love. Having they met in the national versus American all-star game back in college, and they were like so pumped to hear that they were both invited to the Jets camp. So it was like kind of cool and fun to follow along their whole path, and then which brings them to like them competing in ping pong, and creating stakes for what the loser was going to have to endure, and it was just funny that Brownlee was like, all right, we're doing up downs and push-ups, and then he ends up losing.
No, that was good. I was glad that they showed the undrafted receivers there with Brownlee and Gibson, and you mentioned how their journey together in the draft process goes all the way back to January at the NFLPA Bowl, which is out in Pasadena, California. Um, but that was good to see, and then it's just kind of a coincidence, I guess, that they both land with the Jets, and they both make the initial 53-man roster as undrafted free agents. And Xavier Gibson is a small school product out of Stephen F. Austin, and Jason Brownlee was a JUCO, I believe Last Chance U, but definitely a JUCO, and then goes on to Southern Miss. But two quintessential underdogs, and they both make the roster. I was calling for them to feature these two guys for the last couple of episodes. Um, I mean, you and I know that this kind of was predictable, this script for episode 4. Uh, there was a cookie cutter aspect to it. You knew that with cuts coming up, as you mentioned, they were probably going to feature guys on the roster bubble. But I mean, just hey, I don't want to say it, but like I could have written this series, like I pretty much called this all along. But anyway, now I think they go to uh, Jerome Cap. After they show us Brownlee and Gibson, I think it's still at practice, and that's when they feature Jerome Cap again. And the one thing that stuck out to me was the narrator, Liv Schreiber, was just like, it was a harsh one-liner, because they start off the segment on Cap, and he said, like, he's been more about rapping than receiving, or something like, or he's done more rapping than receiving. And it was like, ouch, wow, coming in hard. Um, but yeah, they gave us some more Cap, and what did you notice there? Because then I think that's the last segment
Before the
until we
game.
go to the
Yeah.
game setting, I believe.
So, it was funny how they had A Rod calling out how Eminem posted on Instagram the whole rap, the last battle rap. But then they did go and so here's the thing, like Brownlee had the catch of camp, like he had been outperforming most receivers all camp, so we knew we needed to see more of him, but they did really like kind of make the viewer kind of fall in love with Cap because of just his work ethic and him coming from a D2 school and just his commitment and how bad he wanted it, first in last out. Like he was really seizing the opportunity of being there, although he probably knew he wasn't going to make the cut. He was taking every opportunity to make himself better. So I did appreciate that part.
All right, now we go on the way to the game, and this part here, this is big. I I know you're not a Sopranos fan. I know that your Sopranos knowledge is on Aaron Rodgers level. I really think that we have to lock both of you guys in a room and make you watch this phenomenal television. Um, um, I the fact that you are from New Jersey through and through, and you haven't watched the entire series, it really troubles me.
All right, I
But
know.
here, where we get an allusion to The Sopranos, paying homage with Robert Sala driving to the game, they dial up the Sopranos theme song, and they have the shot here, the camera work mimics the opening to The Sopranos and mimics Tony driving in the car, going on the turnpike, seeing the skyline in his rear view, and it was cool, and I love the song. I love the original opening sequence to The Sopranos. So it was cool to see them incorporate it. But I do have to admit, it was a little sacrilegious here because Tony Soprano is James Gandolfini, um, the late great James Gandolfini. He's kind of an immortal figure, um, and they're putting Sala on Tony's level, and like that's to me Tony and James Gandolfini, who played the part so well, is at like an elite level of greatness, and Salah has a little ways to go here. So I do like Coach Salah, but he doesn't deserve to be put up on that pedestal like Tony Soprano yet. With that said, I think they can get away with it here because James Gandolfini was a huge Jets fan. So
Mm.
he went to Rutgers for college. He was a big Rutgers fan, big football fan, a huge Jets fan, and actually The Sopranos ended in 2007. Uh, Eric Mangini made a cameo on The Sopranos. He was dining in Artie Bucco's restaurant, and Artie comes over to the table to Tony. He's like, Tone, you see who's over there? Man, genius, And Tony goes to his wife, Jets coach, honey. I better go say hello. So it was a memorable scene. But anyway, it was in there probably because Gandolfini himself in real life was such a huge Jets fan. But um, that was a cool tie-in with The Sopranos. Unfortunately, my co-host cannot appreciate it. I
I know.
hope that some
I
people
wish I
listening can
could.
appreciate it. I know there may be a paisan or two out there who's tuning in who really you know went through the same feelings that I did while they were watching the show tonight. Now we go into the game. I'll let you give your um, analysis here of this very long game segment. Um, But to start us off, I thought it was hilarious when Rodgers was going at it with that Jihad Ward, and he's like, "Bro, I never even heard of you." Like he was like,
Yes.
"Show some respect," which I thought it was just tremendous. He really punked that guy.
He
So
definitely did. Um, yeah, that was probably one of the that was definitely like one of the best parts of this whole series. Have some respect. I don't even know who you are. And then Ward tried to come back saying he didn't know who. I was like, that was such a silly like. But you really saw Aaron like get mad and turn up, so I did like that. And then it was also funny with them with Cobb and the flag, with the block, and his wife turning to the kids and being like, "We're probably gonna get a fine here in the mail soon," So that was funny too. She's like, "Oh, I just announced another baby on the way, and hopefully this fine's not going to be as much as the last one, 19K." And then Aaron kind of giving him flack for it too, like, "Bro, this is in 2013. Like, what are you doing?" So yeah, no, so those two parts opened the game up perfectly. And then you went from Aaron, like, with that altercation, I guess you could call it, between with Ward, into him throwing it right to Garrett Wilson for a touchdown. So it obviously motivated them to just, like, 1-2 punch, get it done, get it in, and that put them on the board. And then, like, they kind of highlighted Sauce after that, his segments knocking down the passes. I mean, granted, it was against Tyrod Taylor, the Giants backup, but you saw him getting pretty amped up. So he was just, like, happy to be, like, in game mode. You could tell he's, like, ready to actually play, like, a regular season game. And then the whole Tenzel shoulder thing, like that, they pulled at your heartstrings there, with the x-ray, knowing he really didn't want to go get that x-ray. He was like, "No, just put some, like, cream on it. I'll be good. Put me back out there." And then he still went out there, still got the x-ray. He came back. Adversity, went as hard as he could, and so that was it. It kind of ended on a high note. So, I thought that was good. And then the highlight of Boyle, touchdown, 2-point conversion. So everybody, it seemed like everybody from that point, they highlighted all the positives from that game.
yeah, and I thought it was amusing when Rodgers was going hard with the Jet Life. I mean,
I
it's like
know.
he went
He
there,
multiple
and
times.
the cockiness, it was great, and it wasn't just one time too. Then he gets it walking out of the stadium, walking off the field. Um, kind of like, "Hey, I'm in town. There's a new sheriff in town. So it's not the same old
Yeah.
Jets. Aaron Rodgers is
No.
here, and he's not shy
He's with some
to
yeah,
let you know.
some big Jets energy there. That's what that was.
Yeah, some BJE there, Big Jets energy. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Um, but and hey, you could hate all you want, bro. Hate all you want, cause if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. Um, but I know that song. But yeah, for real, I didn't know the song that DJ John Black was playing there.
Me
Um,
no, me neither. And it's so funny. I was on Instagram today, and I saw that red sexy, whatever her name is, sexy red, for the first time ever today on my feed. And so for them to have played that, I was like, "Oh, okay, so she's obviously, like, the hot thing out right now." I definitely have to go listen
yeah,
to that
I
again, maybe
mean,
get
I
pumped
haven't
up.
been to DJs all summer, but I wonder
I
if
don't
that's on
think
the
DJs
playlist
is
down
playing that.
there. Um, so
I I feel like, but so after this, um they go into Cap getting cut. And I feel like so it left a little bit of a cliffhanger, but I felt like that could have just waited until next week. Next episode.
Yeah,
All of
and
the cuts. Like kind of go through like all of the cuts. Just to have singled him out, I don't know, like that kind of I don't know, it hurt me.
yeah, it was a little sad there, melancholy with
Yeah.
him walking down the hall, like
Saying
the,
goodbye to
I
everybody.
thought
Yeah.
uh, it would have been appropriate if they played like semisonic, like closing time there or something, instead of the New York, New York, which the New York, New York, yeah, they play that at the end of the Yankee game or when the event's over, but to me that has more of like a triumphant flavor to it. Like I said, like closing time would have been much more suitable if they really wanted to go there, but the one thing that annoyed me was what was that version of New York, New York? Like, was this
Yeah,
some
that was
Macy
weird.
Gray impersonator? Like, what was that? Like, can we get some Frankie or at least like Tony Bennett? The late Tony Bennett. Like, you're giving us some. Like I said, I don't even know who that was. What a terrible cover.
Do you think that like maybe they just couldn't get the rights like to use it? Like I don't know why you would choose that version.
I mean, the NFL doesn't have enough money to spend on the rights to this music. I mean, come on. I don't know. Like, but yeah, I mean,
Maybe in New York because the Yankees use it, like another team can't within this. I don't know. Like who knows?
yeah, but well, to tie it into the first song, no bueno. That the opening song, no bueno. The New York, New York knockoff, no bueno. Like I said, I would have voted for something else. Or you know what? Maybe the Green Day song. What is it there? Time of Your Life. There. That would have been good to see Cap going down there. You know that. But no, that was it. That was episode 4, and that looks like it was it for Jerome Cap too, unless he winds up on the practice squad. He's obviously subjected to waivers as a non-vested veteran. He's a rookie, of course, so he can be claimed by another team. I don't think another team. I don't think he's done enough other than the Eminem rapping that another team is going to claim him because if you claim him, he has to go right onto your 53-man roster. So I don't see another team claiming him, which probably means that he will hope for a practice squad invitation from the Jets or maybe from another team. But maybe we haven't quite seen the last of Jerome Cap, but he's not making the 53, and Tanzel Smart also was not included on the initial 53. We'll see how that winds out. He's now free to sign with any team. Um, so and the Jets don't have a punter right now either. They released Morstead, but they're going to sign Morstead back in a day or two. They just wanted to have the roster spot open, and then they'll have move somebody to short-term IR and sign Morstead back. It's not an unusual strategy that actually the Buffalo Bills did it today as well with their long snapper. Thomas Morstead will be a member of the 2023 Jets, but we didn't see any of him today, and that's the
At the
one thing. That's the one thing I wanted more of was the specialist. Maybe some more
yeah.
Zerline. How about a little long snapper love for Thomas Hennessy? Maybe Morstead. I suggested. Obviously, I know probably that it would never happen because they don't want people getting hurt. But like a sprint off between
Well, it's
those
so funny
guys.
too. Yeah, because on Saturday, ever since Cobb like highlighted that, I couldn't unsee it. Like it was so aggressive every single time he came off. It was like he was not kidding. He really does like and he it like as soon as he hits the white sideline, like he like immediately like slows up, but like it is a full on sprint to get off. So I was just like giggling to myself, when I was watching him, but yeah, like that would be funny to do, like, or you know what, he should also be talking to like Dunkin' Donuts on an endorsement, like I run on Dunkin'. He could really strike the iron wall here.
No, without a doubt, I think there is some endorsement money to be made. Um, an interesting fact: Thomas Morstead has made the most money salary wise as a punter over his career than any other punter in NFL history. So as a
Wow.
punter, he has made the most money in salary over the course of his career. So that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
he's definitely not starving. But hey, if you're gonna get an endorsement and have maybe free Dunkin' for a year, I mean, who could turn that down?
Right.
But I don't want to mention those people over there at D&D because they're not paying us here on the Jets Country Podcast. There are opportunities for that, folks. So, um, you know, Schmunkin or the convenience store that rhymes with Tata, or whatever. You guys get the point. If anyone wants to sponsor the show, we have one more episode left of our Hard Knocks review series.
The biggest.
The biggest and the boldest. It's the grand finale. So we'll close on that note, Amanda, with you telling us what you want to see in episode number 5, the finale of HBO's Hard Knocks training camp with the New York Jets.
I secretly am hoping that they saved up all the footage from the cafeteria. I really do. I'm holding out for that. If they don't, I will be disappointed. I do expect like more of the whole, Aaron to be in spotlight, but I do agree that we will need a little bit more from the special teams and the guys that they really didn't highlight. We know we'll get cut, information. They'll probably go into, they probably won't go too far into who they cut, but they will highlight, I hope they highlight, the ones that were like kind of on the bubble, the reasons why they chose to keep the ones on the 53-man roster. So I do expect that. I expect it to be a really, since it's only a 5 episode series, I do expect it to be like jam packed with just good content, more dramatics and comedy.
No, it should be a good one. One player that I'm surprised we haven't seen any of is Jeremy Ruckert. He's a second-year tight end, but he's a local product. He's from Long Island, and he was injured for much of last year. He dealt with some plantar fasciitis, but he is supposedly healthy this year. But he seems like a personality. I remember back during the NHL playoffs, he led a contingent of Jets players to an Islanders game, had on the Islanders jersey. I believe he's a diehard Islanders fan, and his dad is a diehard Jets fan. But anyway, we didn't really see any of him. There were a lot of players, and you hit it right on the head when you said it's only a 5 episode series. How much can you pack in a 90-man roster? You can't do a profile on everyone. So we'll see
We
what they
do
have in
need more.
store.
We do need some more Vito Contento.
Where is he? I mean, is he
Where is
got
Vito?
like is he in the witness protection program? What's
They're
going on,
snubbing
Vito? You
him.
know?
They keep snubbing him.
Yeah, exactly. The guy, like a star is waiting to be born here. So maybe we'll get it. Maybe they're waiting for the grand finale. So fingers
I hope
crossed.
so.
Amanda's got her fingers crossed for some more Vito. But that's all we have right now on the Jets Country podcast, our Hard Knocks review series. Episode 4 is now history. One more to go. We'll be back with you to break it down and talk all about it next week. Ralph Ventry, Amanda Shinn, thank you for listening to the Jets Country Podcast.